Friday. We made it through another week. Don't you always just feel so accomplished when you get to Fridays? You're like, whew, we made it. Particularly this time of year when there is so much stuff going on. It's crazy. And today it is cold and rainy and just gross, and I have sick kiddos and I have a play to go to tonight. There's just so much stuff going on. But I get to have a nice little break in my day and come and hang out with you guys, and we're going to make some pretty jewelry, and we're going to talk beads and chain. Today we're going to do a pretty easy project. This one is just kind of a simple but really pretty elegant one that can send you off into your weekend with some inspiration, hopefully. So everybody's coming on in. Hey, Dorita. So good to see ya. So, how was everyone else's week? Mine has been so busy. I feel like you guys are probably tired of seeing me now. Like, oh gosh, it's that girl again. Here she comes. As I have worked on projects all week, and I'm also working on projects for Tucson. I'm working on projects for next week. So there's like a lot going on. You guys don't even get to see like behind the scenes. Like I come here, I stop what I'm doing, I come here and we do a project together, and then as soon as the camera is off, I'm right back into another project. So a lot of stuff going on, and I'm trying to stay well. I don't want to catch the cooties from the kids. They are feeling bad, but I told them it's better to be sick now than to be sick at Christmas time. That's for sure. So, hi Jane, hi Rachel, hi Dawn, Miss Sherry, Erin, everybody. So good to see you guys. So if you guys don't mind, I know I say it every time, but it's so important to give this a share. Share it on the groups that you go hang out in, or share it on your timeline, or wherever it is that you get together with other people that you bead with. That would be really, really kind of you to do. I would very much appreciate it. So, my nose is itching. Today's project, like I said, this is an easy one. And I really just wanted to give you guys, like, to send you out to the weekend with something on your mind that maybe you've got a party coming up and you need something quick. Or maybe you have, you know, a gift. You've still got gifts on your list and you haven't made anything yet. So not everything that's beautiful has to be complicated. That's like number one. That's probably the number one thing that I could pass along to you that I feel like is probably the most important advice that I could ever give you. Because I've been in a ton of different jewelry making situations. I've worked in the industry for a very, very long time, and there was a time when I would push myself. Like I've equated the harder the project, the more complicated it was, that was somehow representative of me and my skill level. That is so not true, and it took me a long time to figure that one out. So that's probably my biggest advice that I could give to anybody who is getting into the industry, or who is, you know, trying to sell at shows, or whatever your jewelry making situation or scenario could possibly be. That's probably number one. It's not a representation of your skill level. Like, you don't have to put it all out there in one big, huge statement piece, right? It doesn't work that way. Beautiful things can be absolutely simple, and, you know, it's good stuff, and it's really good stuff to have in your booth. People who are shopping in your booth during the holidays that are looking for gifts, they're not necessarily looking for a huge statement piece. They might be. So that doesn't mean don't put your statement pieces there. Have your statement pieces out, but then have some simple, you know, just elegant, beautiful things that they can either wear in the evenings or things that they can wear in the daytime. Give them a good selection of things, and do not base, you know, the skill that you put into it as a representation of your work. That's not the way customers view it. So think about that when you go to shows. Go look at some of the other booths. It doesn't just have to be jewelry. It could be any kind of craft that you're looking at, because you'll see there's a wide range of skill that the artist is showing, and the simple things may be the biggest sellers. Always keep those kinds of things in mind. I hope that I'm giving you guys information, not just about how to make jewelry, but how to take your jewelry out into the world and like find its niche in the world, and how to set up your booth in a way that benefits you, right? Because that's all what we're looking for. Some of us are giving our jewelry away for free. I do that a lot. But then there are others that are taking their craft and trying to sell it in shows, and it can be discouraging sometimes. It's a process that takes a lot of learning. So I hope that I've given you a little bit of insight, and if you've got questions about it, definitely let me know, because I've been there, done that, tried to figure it out, and I haven't perfected it by any means, but I can definitely tell you what it's like on my end. Okay, so today's project, we are using some Tensha beads, and also we are using chain, and the chain is, it was right on my computer when I looked over here. Buy one, get one 50% off on jessiejamesbeads.com. So if you are looking for chain, go take advantage. I love chain. It's one of my very, very favorite things to work with. And I love chain of all sizes, and lucky for me and lucky for you, there just so happens to be a very wide variety of chain that is available over on jessiejamesbeads.com. So there is like some large link chain that is absolutely stunning. And then there is bitty chain, which is really small. That's what we're using today. I'm going to use some gold colored bitty chain that is in Figaro. It's, you know, the Figaro style of chain. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll see it when we're putting the piece together. It's really beautiful. And chain is one of those things where sometimes it calls for a big chain, sometimes it calls for a small chain. So today we're working with small chain, but go check out the chain. Buy one, get one 50% off. That's a really good deal, because chain, if you buy chain can be really expensive, like to keep on hand all the time. So I always look for deals like that. Chain is one of those staples in your, you know, arsenal of jewelry design stuff, but gosh, sometimes it can be really expensive to keep chain around. So today's project is a necklace and the earrings. We're going to do the necklace first, and then we're going to just follow up with the earrings. I'm going to show you the beads. So I'm using some Tensha beads. This is the strand of Tensha beads. And not only are we using this strand, but I also have an individual Tensha bead. You can buy your Tensha beads this way over on jessiejamesbeads.com. So there are like strands, and then you can also buy the individuals. I got this large bead. This is going to be like the focal for our pendant. And then I'm mixing it with some Swarovski, because I feel like Swarovski and Tensha just were made for each other. Okay. All right, let's get started with this, you guys. It's a good one. It's a good one, nice and easy, a great way to finish off the week. All right, I turn the lights around here. Okay, so let's start with the necklace. And actually, let's start with getting these beads off of the strands. So there is that beautiful, isn't that a beautiful bead? I'm so in love with Tensha beads. They're just absolutely stunning. Every single one of them has its own personality. They're just really beautiful. Okay, so cutting the strand apart, and just going to sit these to the side. I'm going to pull out the Tensha beads because we're definitely using those. And I'm just going to sit these to the side. What's cool about the strand is that you also get the galaxy beads, and you're also getting some cage beads, some faceted glass beads, and these guys, these little drops, those will look really pretty in some earrings too. So it's not just Tensha beads, you're getting other good beads as well, which I think is awesome. So there's our Tensha, and then we're going to cut this Swarovski strand. This is a hard strand for me to cut apart because I love the way that it looks all by itself. But we're going to use these little drops. We're definitely going to use the bicones. And we're not using this bead, but that's probably my favorite bead on the strand, just in case you were wondering. I think it's so pretty. Okay, so putting everything over here to the side, and I also have a selection of other things. I've got some gold colored spacers that we're using, and a little bead cap, some more spacers. Just kind of lay everything out here. So a lot of these can be found on the existing Jesse James bead strands that you've got. If you are ever looking for bead caps or spacers, Jesse James bead strands always have a really good selection of extras, not just beads, but spacers and bead caps and things like that. So don't forget about that. When you're working on a piece of jewelry and you need some metal in there, go to your other strands and see what you've got, if what you have in the strand that you're working with, if you need something extra to it. I like to mix and match all my Jesse James beads. So, hi Kathy. Okay, so what we're gonna do for the necklace, it's gonna be really, really simple. We're gonna have this larger Tensha bead, the round one. We're gonna have the drop coming down. Then I have a little necklace cone that I found in my stash, and we're gonna make a chain tassel to hang from that, and that's just gonna hang down here at the bottom. And then we're just gonna string this onto a piece of chain. So not a really, really hard project. We'll work this up really quickly, and then we will do the earrings to match it, and the earrings are even more simple. So let's start with the tassel first. And you're just gonna need a little bit of 22 gauge wire. Got some gold color wire here. I'm gonna cut myself, let's see. You don't really need much for this, 3.5 inches. And I'm also going to be using some of that Figaro chain. So if you like this chain, head on over to the site, or any of the chain for that matter. So I have some really short sections. I don't even know what the measurement is. Let me look just to see. So it looks to be about if I stretch it out here, it's about 2¼ inches of chain. And I have cut, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we've got 7 strands. That's going to make a nice tassel. The thicker tassel you want, the more of these pieces of chain you want to cut as well. Yes, Jane, that was my weird ruler. I will forever be known for that weird ruler. Okay, so we're going to take our little piece of 22 gauge wire, and we're just going to thread on all of our pieces of chain. And we're going to bring those to the middle. Whoops. Try to get them all as they were laying down, but it's not going to work out that way. This mat that I work on, I really like the color, but it tends to grab things. Whatever this fabric is, it's not very friendly. It wants to grab everything and hold it. Okay, so there are our 7 strands all hanging down, and you can see I cut these so that they all matched. You don't have to cut them that way so that they match and line up. You can see the pattern on the chain is the same on every single one of them. I'm just kind of weird like that, and I wanted them all to be uniform, but you don't have to cut it that way. If you feel like the pattern doesn't make any difference, then it doesn't matter. It is going to give it a little bit different look. And if you're just using just regular chain that doesn't have that long link that's in there, then it definitely won't make any difference. Totally up to you, just a design choice on my part. Okay, so I'm going to bundle those chains together in my fingers, right in the middle, and then I'm just going to take the 2 ends of the wire, and I'm just going to crisscross them. This is not pretty wire wrapping by any means, because this is all going to be up inside that cone, and so you won't even notice this wire wrapping. So if it's ugly, just go with it. just go with it. Hold on, lost my pliers. All right, so just want to bend one of those wires up so that can go through the necklace cone, and then this other wire down here, I'm just going to wrap it around. Like, I'm not even using the pliers or anything. I don't really care what that wrapping looks like. Makes no difference. Just using up the tail, making a big jumbly mess of wire wrapping there. Okay, there's still just a little bit of a tail. I'll just trim that off, get that out of the way. All right, so there is that, and you can see that's not a pretty wrap, makes no difference. Take my necklace cone and just drop that down on top of it. Okay, so now all of my chain is going to be hanging out of the bottom of the cone, and I have created a cute little tassel. So on the top of this, we're just going to create a wrapped loop, going up and over. Hi, Suzanne. And switching hands, and I'm just going to do my regular wire wrapping here. I'm a little short. I don't know. No, there's plenty. I'm just not used to ending with such a small amount of wire. You guys know I always use like huge amounts of wire for the smallest tasks. So when I only have a little bit left at the end of something, it feels very weird. Like I feel like I'm missing something, right? But it's good. There's no waste on this one. Just a tiny little bit. All right, so there is our tassel. And that was really easy to do. If you've got necklace cones in your stash or any kind of tassel toppers that you've got, you can really, really quickly put together chain tassels. I love all tassels. I'm not particular. All tassels are good tassels, but chain tassels, sometimes they are just where it's at, you know? And if I wanted to take this to the next level, I could wire wrap. If I had some more of the Swarovski bicones, I totally would do this. Wire wrap little bicones on the end of each one of these strands just to give it even more sparkle. I think that would be really, really pretty. All right, so there is our tassel. And now we are going to stack some beads up here. So we're going to use this guy. I'm going to put 2 of these little daisy spacers on the top of that and 1 of the Swarovski bicones. And we're just going to wire wrap this so there's a wrapped loop at the top and a wrapped loop at the bottom. And I'm going to wire wrap it directly to the tassel so there is no jump ring connection in between there. Okay, so take my wire here, cut what I need, and we'll create that wrapped loop at the bottom. Going in with the round nose, up and over, adjusting my grip, bringing it on around. And now before I do the wire wrapping, I'm just going to go ahead and add that straight to the loop there on our tassel. So that connection is right there. Sarah says you can never have too much sparkle. That is so true. All right, just wire wrapping the tail end and trimming that off. Okay, so we've got our loop here on the bottom. We're connected to our tassel. I'm going to thread on my big drop bead. Look how pretty that is just all by itself. And we haven't even done anything. Like we haven't even added any crystals to this, and it's stunning just like it is. That would be an amazing earring. Okay, then we're going to add 2 of these little daisy spacers and our bicone just to top it off with some bling. It didn't even need it, but man, that tiny little bead makes all the difference in the world. All right, so we're going to wire wrap the top of this, give it a wrapped loop. Hi, Laura. Coming in with the round nose, going up and over, on around. Okay, and then I'm going to use my pliers for this just because there's not a lot of room there. Get my fingers in there and cover up the bead and a whole bit. Okay, so there is our wrapped loop at the top. We're going to trim that off. Okay. And now we're going to put this round. So on that strand, there was 1 large and 2 small. We're going to use the larger one here, and we're just going to top that off with this guy. We'll put some daisy spacers with it as well. So we'll put 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom. And again, we're going to wire wrap this directly to the other. So there are, again, no jump ring connections with this because we're really stacking up quite a bit of beads. So I like to try to avoid, if I can, jump rings. Jump rings are fine, but particularly with long styles, things with chain, anything that can get caught on anything. If you work at a desk and your necklace gets caught between your body and the computer keyboard or the edge of the desk, or if you work with kids, particularly younger kids, toddlers, babies, and they have a tendency to grab things, any situation that you've got, like if you're making jewelry for yourself, think situationally. Anywhere your jewelry can get caught, if you can avoid a jump ring connection in a long piece of jewelry, definitely avoid it. It just keeps your jewelry from coming apart on you. Jump rings are sturdy and they're made to hold, but in some situations, a jump ring will open right up on you. If you've got a 18-month-old that grabs your necklace and gives it a good yank, that jump ring doesn't stand a chance, I can promise you. All right, so just creating that wrapped loop. And again, directly to the loop on the top of this part. And I'm gonna hold that, wrap around a couple of times. Okay, trim that off. Okay, and let's do the daisy spacers. Our Tensha bead. Kind of look at my Tensha beads and kind of figure out what direction, like what I want the top to, not necessarily the top, but what direction I want those flowers to be going. If I want them pointing up or if I want them pointing down. Okay, so there is that. Now before we do the wrapped loop here on the top, I kind of need to look at everything and figure out what direction that loop needs to be so that we can hang this on a piece of chain. So I want this loop on the top to go in the opposite direction as the loop down here on the bottom. So I'm just going to grab that wire with my chain nose pliers, and with the daisy spacers there's a little cup shape there, right? Because it's not just straight across with the daisy spacers. So your wire wrapping here is actually going to go into that little cup section. So it's going to look like there's only enough room for 3 wraps when actually there's enough room for 4. Okay, up and over. Gonna switch hands. And do our wire wrapping. And you know what? I don't think that loop is quite big enough, because I'm gonna thread this onto a piece of chain. I want that loop to be a little bit bigger. So let's straighten this out a little bit. Aw, Suzanne. That's funny. All right, so I straightened that out. Can you see how crooked that is? That's my version of straightening it out. Straightening it out on a Friday. You get what you get. All right. So it won't matter here in just a second. It'll make absolutely no difference. So just starting over again, and this time I'm gonna come back on the pliers just a little bit to make that loop a little bigger. For one thing, the loop down here on the bottom is a little on the big side. I need this one on the top to not only match it, but be big enough for that chain to clear. So there we go. I'm happy with that now. All right, and again, so there's the 3 wire wraps, but it looks like that's it. There's not any more room, but that little cup space in that daisy spacer allows me to go around one more time. Okay. Coming in, trimming off the tail. Be really careful not to accidentally cut my loop, because this is a tight space since it is down inside that spacer. Just want to be sure that I can get in there. all else fails, give it a wiggle. Nope, I thought I had nicked the side of it, but it looks like I didn't, so give it another try. It's a really, really tight space right there. There we go. All right, cool. So the loop on the top, I want it to go this direction so that our chain can run right through there, and then everything else will be nice and lined up on the bottom. So the pendant is done. Thank you. Rita says, love your bracelet. Which one? I got a bunch on. These golem beads, I love those. Look, aren't they cool? So I needed a bracelet to go with the Sara Ellis strand, so I put together this golem bracelet, and it's got leather on it, and I hooked on my little prayer box to it, and you can see, I don't know where I got this. I've had it forever, and it's not been attached to anything, but I have my little prayer written on a piece of paper, and it's down inside there, so I carry it with me. Oh, that was cute. Okay, enough about me. All right, so I have a piece of the Figaro chain that matches the tassel, and I'm just going to thread that on, or rather, we're going to thread this pendant on, add a jump ring to the end of this, and we're going to call this one done. And we'll move on to the earrings so that we've got a cute little set that you can wear yourself, or you can give as a gift. It's a good last minute one if you need a gift for sure. Or if you've got any holiday party to go to. Maybe you're going to yet again another family gathering, and like you've already been to your family gatherings 3 times and you need something different to wear this time. You know how that goes. So you can work that up pretty quickly. So I will show this to you on a bust in just a minute after we do the earrings, but that is the necklace. Easy peasy, right? That was super, super quick, easy to do, just some wire wrapped loops. That's all we needed. Now let's put together an earring, at least one of the earrings, so that you can see. So this little drop bead was on the bottom of our strand. I'm gonna put that guy on. Hi, Marie. And next we're gonna do 2 more daisy spacers. And then one of our Tensha beads. And I'm using a head pin here. I forgot to say that part. So I didn't make my own head pin for this. I'm just using one, a prefab, if you will. All right, so I've got a little bead cap here that's a little different than the daisy spacers, but still has those cute little ball ends on it, so it all kind of matches. And then we're gonna add one of these Swarovski bicones to the top of this. And that's gonna be our earring. Like, that's as easy as it gets, right? So I'm going to wire wrap this, and I'm going to do a wrapped loop, but you can tell there's not a lot of wire here, so it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. Try to keep my loop really small because I don't have much of a tail to work with here. Just bring it on around. You can see how tiny that tail is. That is definitely way less wire than I am ever used to working with, but we're going to make it work. That's what our pliers are for. This probably would have made way more sense for me to do my own head pin here. But that's okay, we can guide this around and make it work. Just use my pliers best as I can to take that wire and pinch it into place. Definitely a challenge when you don't have very much wire to work with. Now you can see why it is that I always use more wire than I need, because I get so frustrated when I just have like this teeny tiny tail of wire to work with. It can be more trouble than it's worth. All right, so we're just gonna add an ear wire to this. And that one's done. Let's do the other one just so that we've got a set and we'll be finished. We will have a beautiful set of jewelry, and if you wanted to, you could get 2 of the strands of the Tensha beads and you could make a matching bracelet to go with this, you know. And the bracelet, you don't even have to be super creative with the bracelet because it's already strung so beautifully. You could just add it to some elasticity and just string it just as it is on the strand, and you would have a whole set. All right, so I'm going to use the last little blue bicone that I've got here. Look how pretty that is. I just love these. They're so, so pretty. Tensha beads are just really elegant and beautiful. I don't know, there's something very royal about Tensha beads. I cannot get enough of them. I think they're so, so pretty. All right, on around again with this little teeny tiny piece of wire to work with. Just giving it a little squeeze with the pliers. Bringing it on around. Oh! Just kind of squeezing that guy in. Right at the end. I just don't want it to stick out, but I'm also trying to be really, really mindful of the Swarovski bead that is there, because I don't know if you have a lot of experience working with Swarovski beads, but they're soft. They're considered soft beads, and there are some people that don't know that. So, you know, you consider like a diamond, that's a hard, rough, you know, that's a really strong. Swarovski crystals are soft. They're considered soft, so they chip. If you put too much force on them, particularly at the openings of the bead holes, they have a tendency to chip. So you have to be really, really careful with them. You never want to take all of your Swarovski beads and just dump them in a container together. 3 or 4, 5 or 6, you know, just one layer on the bottom is fine. But if you layer them up, they have a tendency to rub up against each other and crack each other. They're beautiful, and it's not that they're not good quality. They are. Swarovski is as good of quality as you're going to get with Austrian crystals. But you have to handle them delicately, and that's part of what the price point is on Swarovski crystals. You have to take good care of them, in other words. So that little wire wrapping up there at the top, that made me a little bit nervous. I definitely don't want to crack the top of my Swarovski, or any Swarovski for that matter. I always feel a little heartbroken when I break a bead, whether it's Swarovski or not. All right, so that is it, you guys. I'm going to turn you around. We're going to put this on a bust. I'll put one of the earrings on because I don't have any earrings in today, and then I will let you guys get on with your day and your weekend. We made it. It's Friday. It's phenomenal. Thank you. Brenda says she likes the tools that I use. The tips are much smaller than mine. So the tools that I use, these are Beadalon pliers, and I have the whole set. You can get the set over on jessiejamesbeads.com. That's one of the #1 things that I love about this set. #1, the handles are small. My hands are small, so using the tools that have the big chunky handles is really hard for me to use. But the tips on these are tiny, tiny, tiny. And honestly, they could be even smaller. If I created a tool, which maybe one day I will, who knows? I doubt it. But if any company ever offered, hey, let's make a tool line, I would insist on having very, very tiny, tiny tips, because you know, the big chunky tips, I can never get in there when I'm working with wire. So, okay. I'm going to put this on the bust so you can see, and I'm going to shorten the chain up just a little bit before I show it to you, because it's kind of a long necklace. I'll put on one of the earrings. These are so, so pretty. Look how pretty. So simple, but just a really beautiful earring. It has lots of sparkle. It's kind of a cloudy day here, so you can't really tell a whole lot how much sparkle there is, but just enough, right? Just enough sparkle. And then the necklace is the same way, just enough sparkle. That beautiful Tensha bead and our chain tassel. Chain, buy one, get one 50% off over on the Jessie James Beads website, you guys. Don't miss out on that because, like I said, chain can be expensive. Take advantage of the sales. It's worth it. It's worth it. If you use a lot of chain, and I do. And if you don't use a lot of chain, go get some chain and try using it. I can't, I'll get you coming and going, right? No, chain is great. I love chain. It's a great thing to use as an extender, but when you have a beautiful piece of chain like this beautiful Figaro chain, it's beautiful to show it off in things like tassels and using the big links for things like earrings. So just some fun things you can do with chain. If you're not a chain fan, go check some out. Jessie James Beads chain their selection is really awesome. So I highly, highly recommend doing that. Grab yourself some Tensha beads too, because they're lots of fun. Swarovski, everything you need is over there, including the tools. All right, you guys, it has been such a great week. Thank you so much for joining me. It has been really fun. This is number 6, right? Let's see, we did Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, no, 5. I've done 5 Facebook Lives this week. It's been so fun. I love to be busy and I love any chance to come and hang out with you guys. So thank you for joining me. It's been awesome. It has been a great, great week. I hope you have enjoyed all of the projects that I have shown this week. I will have more projects coming up for you next week. So come on back. Same time, same place. Catch me on Jessie James Beads, also on Silver, Silk, and More, you guys, and here on Sara Ellis Designs. Have a great rest of the day and enjoy your weekend. I will see you guys next week. Bye, guys.